Hello, everyone, and welcome to another stream. Today, we have a lot of people. We have the GOATX team and we have the Flare team. It kind of overlaps. So today, we're going to be doing a head-to-head of both projects. How's everyone doing today?
Yeah, we're doing good.
Absolutely wonderful.
Yep.
Doing great. Thanks for having us, Callum.
Yep, no worries. Yeah. So I thought we could start with maybe a quick elevator pitch for both projects. And then from there, we can kind of deep dive into the white papers. So Smooth, do you want to start with a really quick, if you're a new user coming into the system, how are you going to describe and sell Flare to them?
Yeah, so Flare is a hyper deflationary token built on TitanX. And we have a pretty unique way of distributing tokens. It's 11 weeks of minting. You can go Friday and mint every Friday, claim Saturday, and then throughout all of those minting, we'll have daily auctions. So it's going to be a really good combination of auctions and minting. And while we do that, we're constantly growing the web of LPs, forever kind of pushing more and more into that daily auction pool. And it's kind of a hybrid between, Inferno, Vault, X28, it's got everything. And it's going to really benefit TitanX and Inferno, in my opinion.
All right, that's pretty good. Irish, do you want to go for the GOATX elevator
All right,
pitch?
hard act to follow there, Smooth, so I'll give it my best. So look, I think GOATX is at the forefront of crypto innovation. GOATX is proud to champion the emerging MemeFi standard within the TitanX ecosystem that's starting to flourish. So I think MemeFi represents a paradigm shift in how we perceive and interact with meme coins. It's pushing meme coins into a new era, and it's elevating them, I think, from a more rug intensive kind of environment that we've seen in other chains and more speculative assets, and merging them with more DeFi utility and bringing it into TitanX, which is fair crypto. So MemeFi, meme coin with DeFi utility and real long-term value proposition. So the guts of it really is hyper-deflationary coin, the elevation and evolution of the success that we saw with Inferno, which I was a co-founder of. It's got 92% burn and feed mechanics. We've got a 5-tier holder social classification system, which I think is going to get really interesting when you combine that with the full token distribution within 14 days that has a gradual reduction via a 0.02 over the 14 days. And I think some of the special secret sauce in this is it's a TitanX first. I think it's a crypto first, where we've got a capped amount of TitanX for GOAT that could be minted on a daily basis. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out. It's an evolution of what we achieved with Inferno, which is an ongoing story. It's right in there with Inferno. We are helping Inferno. And yeah, we're right in the Inferno ecosystem. So looking forward to diving a bit further into it. But as we've seen, people love memes, they love visuals, they love DeFi, and this brings the best of both worlds.
He nailed it!
That was a long elevator. That was the longest elevator I've ever taken.
He went to the top floor.
But you've got to steal your moment, right? But really, as you can see, really excited about it. So
I love it.
Yeah, let's go.
So just to quickly summarize that, so it's going to be meme coin at its core, but it's also going to have some interesting tokenomics. It's going to have auctions, but the auctions are going to be capped by the amount of TitanX that comes in, and it's going to be over 14 days, you said.
Correct. Yeah, we decided to go for 14 days. I know other protocols are doing different things. Inferno was 8 mint cycles over 8 weeks, but we wanted to do 14 days in a row so we could get enough economic energy into it for the buy and burn and for the tokenomics. But also not have it too long too. That was the decision we made.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. So we'll get really into the details in a minute. Before that, Scotty, how you doing, man? Welcome.
What's up, buddy? How are we doing? How is everyone?
Doing good, doing good.
Oh, I am honored. I am honored.
Well, this must be the first stream in months, is it?
It's first stream in 2024.
Wow.
I was just avoiding Pat's elevator pitch. I thought I'd come on after that. I'm only kidding. I'm only kidding. How is everyone? All good?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, honored that you're here and that the
Oh.
first stream back is with us.
Yeah, I know. I had to be. I couldn't let you all go on without me. I didn't want you getting in trouble.
So first of all, I thought we would go into Flare and then we'll go into GOATX after. So I'll bring up the white paper for Smooth, but Smooth, just quickly. So obviously, Irish just shared their distribution is going to be over 14 days. Do you want to quickly share the distribution for Flare? Because I know it's quite different.
Yeah, so distribution for Flare, we have Inferno style minting. So Fridays you can go in, you have 24 hours to mint your tokens using Ethereum or TitanX, and you can claim it Saturday. So it's going to be 11 weeks. So it's going to be very slow, and in my opinion, gives a lot of people a good chance to get it. One thing we also, I really liked GOATX's 0.02 drop off every time the minting came. So that's one thing we incorporated as well with Flare. I think that just gives people a really good opportunity to get as much Flare as possible. And that's one of the things we changed. And I really like that. And it should help with ROI really greatly. But yeah, 11 weeks of distribution. And then we start with a trillion Flare in the auction balance. So that's another form of, I guess, minting, if you will, because that's going to come onto market through the daily auctions. Yeah, so I think Cullen might have froze or something like that, but he doesn't look very happy with what I was saying.
Said something wrong there.
Do you want to just rock through the white paper and we can just crack on while you log back on?
So like I said, 11-week distribution. One thing before we get into anything, 76% of all the Ethereum TitanX comes into the system is going to auto mint X28. So this is a great way for Flare to not only utilize X28, but keep a lot of the economic energy within Flare, but also burn a crap ton of TitanX. So we're going to be burning 38% of basically everything that comes in. And I think that's just crazy and powerful. And, I'm hoping that Flare, at least gets in the top 7 on leaderboards, if not a little bit higher, in my opinion. But yeah, I'm bullish on it.
So just Smooth, just for anyone who doesn't understand how, so 76% of the ETH and TitanX is used for minting daily auctions will mint X28. So 76% of all the value in the protocol will mint X28. So how does that then burn half of the TitanX? I know, so I don't think anyone else might. So maybe it might be good just to touch on that, how that works.
Yeah. So with X28, you can go in there and mint X28 using TitanX. And when you mint X28, half of the TitanX that was used to mint X28 will be burnt forever. So Flare is going to be one of the first projects that has a auto minting feature of TitanX just going straight into there and minting X28 and it will burn half of everything that goes into there. So that's where the 38% comes from. And the 76% is just everything that comes in. That's a great question.
Yeah, nice. So actually, so 38% is always burned. It's like a straight burn immediately from all value comes in. 38% of that is burned straight away.
Yep. Yeah, but without, we're still keeping the same number of tokens with X28. So it's really powerful with just making TitanX even more scarce. And it's one of the things we kind of last minute changed. And I think it's one of the most bullish parts of this. I think it would have been fine without doing it, but it's like a little extra right at the end. I was like, man, we gotta do this. So I really like X28 and the Omni and everything. And it just seems like a perfect fit for Flare.
Definitely. Really good.
Okay. Yeah. So this just goes over the minting side of things. Like I said, every week you can go in on Fridays and mint, and you can claim on Saturdays at 2 p.m. Eastern or UTC, I mean. And the daily auctions are going to start on day 2. So day 1 will be minting, day 2 will be claiming, and the start of the auctions. So mint allocation to ratio, just like GOATX, we have a 0.02 drop off every single week, starting at 1:1 and then finally ending at 1 to 0.8. I liked a very aggressive drop off, but this should allow people to get a good ROI and give as much of a fair chance as possible for people to get as much flare as they can. Then the minting and auction allocation. So it's the same for both the minting and the auction. 44% of all the TitanX will be used for the buy and burn, but all of that will be auto minted X28. 32% will auto mint X28 and use for the daily auction pool. And the cool thing about the 32% is that's programmed to buy TitanX or Flare off the market through all the next day over 180 calls. So if it's programmed to, if $1 million comes in, 320 grand is programmed to buy that next day. So this is really powerful, and it's just going to feed that auction balance forever and always, in my opinion. 8% of the TitanX is directly sent to Inferno buy and burn. And Inferno is going to be our second biggest LP. If not, maybe the first. I don't know. If Inferno goes crazy, then it could be our biggest. So definitely like Inferno, and it's going to kill it. A lot of protocols are building on it, and you know the kingdom's getting big, in my opinion. 8% of TitanX is used for liquidity webbing, and 8% is allocated to Genesis. So that liquidity webbing is going to have webs with all of the deflationary projects in TitanX to hopefully leverage Flare even more to the upside.
Nice. Yeah. So you're almost gonna choose the tokens in the ecosystem which are deflationary only. So like, Inferno, for example. What else have we got? Vault, Shogun. Once they've finished Phoenix, once they've finished their mint phase, they all become deflationary. So yeah,
exactly.
There's plenty to be comparing to. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and there's a lot that are going to be capped, right? To think in the future with all the different pillars that Steve's building, it can get pretty crazy. And a lot of these things with enough buy pressure technically are going to be deflationary. So in the future, we never know what we are going to be LPing with, but at least to start, it's going to be the most deflationary and capped project.
That's actually really interesting that you say that, because we just recently shared a few things regarding Flux, and actually the supply that the suppliers, there's liquid supply has been dropping quite dramatically over the last week. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Even a protocol that seems like an inflationary supply because it's minted out actually can become deflationary very, very quickly, like we've seen with TitanX.
Yeah, and I wish Cullum was here, but thanks to Phoenix, right? It's just that little catalyst that it needed to really just start pumping. And I really like the fact that with more projects being built on these projects, it's only going to make even the most inflationary projects deflationary. With Flux, you have a specific amount that's going to come out every week, and the ratio changes every week. And now we're seeing the liquid supply dropping, even though it's inflating every day, which is wild to think about, truly. Yeah. Nice. So liquidity pool creation, X28 and Flare pairing. That's going to be the only liquidity pool established at the beginning. And then as time goes on, we're going to continuously add liquidity to different LPs. And these are all V2 LPs. So everything's going to be compounded back into the LP because it's going to be full range.
And so you've obviously got allocations there from the minting and the auction. So obviously the auctions are perpetual. They're active every day. So the Flare protocol will constantly bring TitanX and then X28 value in, and you'll be able to create new pairs with whatever hyper deflationary or deflationary protocol comes in the future, because you're always going to have that allocation there, which is, I think, is really cool, because this web could actually, this liquidity web could be almost infinite in terms of the value that's coming in.
Yeah, exactly. And I really just wanted Flare to be super flexible with what already is and what is going to be in the future. And we never know what could come in the future. We have a lot of great projects now, but we definitely wanted to be forward thinking and be able to be a little flexible and show like through these liquidity webs. And we've already seen them really do well on a lot of other projects. So it was really important for Flare to do it. And it's just going to become more and more thick over time, which will only help the whole system.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
And so the daily auction pool mechanics. So 32% of all of the minting and 32% of all of the daily auctions will auto mint X28 and be added to the daily auction pool through it. So it's going to be nuts, and it's going to start with trillion Flare in the auction pool. So the day 2, the first auction should have 110 billion Flare for auction. So the first auction is going to be absolutely massive, in my opinion. It's going to be huge, and it's only going to promote longevity within the system, and that's all I wanted. I didn't want it to be like, okay, we had a good first week. I wanted it to be like long term thinking, and through the math and everything, this was the best thing we could have done, in my opinion. And so during the distribution phase, 11% of the pool is going to be used every day, and then after the minting will be 5. It will go down to 5%, just promoting more longevity in the future.
Nice.
So the buy and burn is pretty much exactly like Inferno's. Sunday through Wednesday is 4% of the total. Thursday is 10%, and Friday and Saturday are going to be 15%. So just like Inferno, we saw as the week went on and as the minting got closer and closer to that Friday, the price and the ROI just looked so good. So I really love that. I liked how it ramped up and just guided you into wanting to mint. So Flare, I want there to be trillions of tokens if possible. I really want it to be a big player. And, a lot of tokens and a little tokens have their disadvantages and advantages. And I think with just how aggressive this auctioning and the buy and burn is, I think we can handle a lot of, a lot of tokens, if you will.
Yeah, when you look back, that was definitely one of the best things about Inferno was that the ramping up of the buy and burn as the week went on. It really did create a shitload of hype. That ramping up to that 15% on the the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, really did create a lot of hype, and there was a lot of pressure on the chart. So I like that you put that in there.
Absolutely, and I minted on day 1 of Inferno, but it was like as those weeks went by, I was like finding myself minting again and again and again. And it's due to the buy and burn, how efficient it really was. So I really like the gamification of the buy and burn to kind of incentivize minting at the end of the week. The
Sorry, guys, I'm back.
Callum's back.
The Wi-Fi got rugged.
We've seen that move before.
Yeah.
So this is about the last thing. So there will be a buy and sell tax. So during the 11-week mint phase, they're going to be an 8% buy and sell tax. So 3.5% is sent to the daily auction pool, 3.5% is burned, and there'll be a 1% genesis. So after the mint phase, after the 11 weeks, it'll go down to 2.8%, 1% to the daily auction pool, 1% burned, 0.8% to the genesis. So I really like a seamless project, and no taxes is awesome, but a little bit of tax after the minting period just to promote longevity. I think 2.8% is reasonable. I mean, in real life, we're getting taxed 30-40% and we're not even thinking about it. So it's like a little bit of tax here and there is all right, in my opinion. And it's only going to burn more and put more in the daily auction pool. So everything we're doing here is, create longevity and hopefully a standalone project and continuously, grow Flare through all of these taxes and the program buy pressure. So it's a slow minting process, but very aggressive tokenomics throughout the whole time.
I totally agree with that, Smooth, because these tokenomics have already been proven with Shogun. You have the LP web, you have the taxes, and like you said, yes, the taxes, some people would say high, but Shogun has 8%, and you've seen how effective it's been with the war chest, which is basically their auction balance. It just keeps building, keeps building. So Flair's kind of another approach to that, and it's going to be, that's the kind of sustainable nature about it. After the 11 weeks, it's basically going to have that forever LP web that's always going to be generating more fuel for the auctions and more burning to make it even more hyperinflationary. So I can't wait for after the 11 weeks. And I really like the 11 weeks is set up this way because it's really fair. Like you can come in whenever. You also have the auctions if you want to play that kind of side of things. Super fair. And then after the 11 weeks is when it becomes capped. And I think things are going to get really interesting after that.
Yeah, you've built a really nice, simple protocol here, but also managed to sneak in a shit ton of features.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. You know, it's a culmination of a lot of different features from a lot of projects. And, you know, a big thing, in my opinion, is the best inventions are just tweaked on old inventions. And with Flare, I wanted to kind of have a little bit of here, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it kind of came into this. So it's really simple. You either mint your tokens or you get them off of auction, and everything else is just in the background, constantly just doing its thing. So with those taxes and the LP web, all of the price fixer bots or the arbitrage bots that will be trading against these pairs are also getting hit with all these taxes. So it's going to forever grow the pool and forever burn more and more flares. So, and forever grow and thicken the LPs. So it's, you know, it's a good either way side. So double-edged sword, in my opinion.
Smooth. Have you kind of thought about what would happen if, let's say, you get really good participation for the first week, and then people kind of turn more towards the auction side of things, and that's how they gain a lot of flair? What do you kind of think would play out in that situation?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I think it's really good either way. If people mint, that's going to be awesome. But one thing, the minting and auction allocation is the same exact percentage. So whether people come in through the daily auction or the minting, it all incentivizes and promotes longevity either way. But if people are going through the auctions, it's going to be hard not to mint, because if the auctions go crazy for that week, that minting is going to be profitable when it comes back around. So, you know, if you want to only do the auctions, that's fine, because people are going to get pretty good ROIs, in my opinion, on the minting in theory. But overall, it helps either way. That, if that answers your question.
No, 100%. I think this is going to be really interesting to see kind of how it does play out, because you have both elements, and we haven't seen this before in TitanX, really. It's going to be interesting. It's definitely with GOATX as well, the way that they're doing auctions. Both these new kind of auction mechanics for distribution is going to be very interesting to see, for sure.
Yeah, and you know, it's a very simple but long-term kind of project, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, this has never been before done in crypto, TitanX, this style. I think a lot of this was, you know, a lot of these mechanics that I have were a first of its kind when they came out. So I just wanted to bring all those together.
And did you, I didn't know if I missed it. Did you run through the allocation?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry, my bad. We won't go over that again.
You missed everything.
I missed all of it.
Are you going to say something, Scotty?
Yeah, I was just going to follow up on what you were saying there. So basically, we've seen other protocols where the weekly mints, and it's been great for them long term, where, you know, there's been a big allocation of week one, and then it's died down a little bit, which for the long term of the, you know, it just means there's less tokens out there, and the buy and burn can really buy that up, which is great. This is obviously, I don't know if I'm repeating what you said, but basically this means we can get more into the buy and burn, even if that happens. So if the mint happens, we've seen with auctions to still close out. So if the same things happens with this, again, it's great, but we're still getting that economic energy coming into the buy and burn through the auctions, because as we see, they do always close out. So it really does complement each other. And it doesn't matter if people don't mint, because you're still getting that buy and burn coming in, and which is going to increase the ROI, which obviously does then make more people mint. So like Callum said, it's going to be really, really interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And I tweeted the other day, it's like the tokenomics are awesome, but when we go live and you see the website, I think you're really going to like it. It's very easy on the eyes, and I think you're really going to like it. So it's like twofold. It looks great, and the tokenomics are really great.
And 8% is going to be going to the Inferno buy and burn V2. That's what I'm excited about. Let's
Yeah,
go.
so
all the projects on Inferno are going to benefit.
Exactly. So like I said earlier, Inferno will be probably our second biggest LP, if not, depending on what happens, maybe our biggest one. I have no idea the future. And if Inferno gets pinched, in my opinion, like I see it getting to, because shout out to you, Cullum. The Phoenix has been killing it, and it's really catalyzed the whole entire Inferno ecosystem. And I'm hoping with GOATX and Flare right after GOATX, it just nukes everything in a good way. In a good way.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that the timing is right. We were having a bit of a chat before we come on stream there, just about when Inferno launched and TitanX hadn't really popped, and it got to start to it got to be a part of the TitanX start to run up. A lot of these protocols that are launching right around this time could all be a part of that. So just like you say, these 2, 3, 4 protocols all coming out, adding more not just burn pressure, but a shit ton of buy pressure. Inferno is just going to help them all hopefully get that real good price appreciation as TitanX runs up.
And let's just remember, almost 60% of Inferno's supply has already been burnt.
Yep.
And you've had Phoenix come out, contributing massively and re-energizing the Inferno ecosystem. Big props to you, Callum. 8% GOATX, 8% Flare. No one has enough Inferno. No one.
Nice one, Pat. Love it. You're on fire tonight, boy.
no one's got enough Inferno. I mean, it's out of all the ecosystems. DragonX is, fair play to it. It's had a really good pump, and the ones that are bonded have done well. And I just got a feeling that the Inferno ecosystem is going to moon together. I really have a strong feeling about it.
Yeah, I like that feeling too.
Yeah.
But the way that all these projects are kind of launching, supporting it as well, it's just going to benefit everything. I think that's the beauty of TitanX. But then you go even further to the DragonX Kingdom, the Inferno Kingdom, where all these projects are stacked on top of each other and all benefiting from the leverage of their core, which is Inferno. So I cannot wait, especially like you said, 8% of everything from Flare and GOATX, which GOATX is coming soon. But Smooth, what's the update for when Flare?
Yeah, so the testing has been going pretty good. The guys have been absolutely smashing it, and I think we should be going to audits somewhat soon, but I think in all honesty, it just feels like the days are slipping away in December, in my opinion. So more than likely early, mid, late January, somewhere in that time frame. But overall, I don't want to release it unless it's perfect and it's tested really well. And so I would rather release it yesterday, or a week ago. But at the end of the day, technology and coding takes a little testing and time. So
yeah, but January is still not that far away, really. It's still a few weeks.
No.
So I think it will be good because GOATX will be released and there'll be a decent time for obviously the 14-day distribution, and then we'll see what happens there. And then boom, Flare comes out. And like you said, hopefully that's the bullet, the catalyst that starts everything.
I hope so.
Do we get a little bit of a break? So we had Phoenix launch, Stacks is this Matrix yesterday, Phoenix, and then Stacks is coming. Then GOATX is coming on the 28th of December. Do we get a bit of a break after that? Is there anything else put a launch date out?
Nothing yet, no.
Nothing
concrete, I guess.
Yeah, so maybe, just thinking of timelines, I haven't heard anything being touted to launch early January yet. So, You know, I don't think you're really up against it time-wise. I think you've got a little bit of time on your hands to get Christmas period out of the way, and maybe a little bit of a break. Maybe we get a nice bit of a Christmas pump in the whole ecosystem as well.
Yeah, I really think the macro crypto market for January to March, if we release in January, that is a amazing time, in my opinion, for the bull market. And it should be altcoin season by then and whatnot. So, you know, it's to be seen, but I'm hoping early 2025 for at least the minting period is going to go crazy. But, you know, longevity, we're going to have these daily auctions every single day. So it's going to be all year long, forever and always auctions and constant buy pressure on Flare and Inferno.
And that's such a good point. If the bull run's kind of going through and you have these 11 weeks, the input token for Flare is TitanX. So the floor price kind of increases if TitanX starts really pumping. So getting in week 1 might be the cheapest you can get in at if TitanX starts pumping up, which is going to be, I think it's going to be a perfect time. I think the 11th of January should be the aim smooth.
I like that. You know, I'm not scared of that. If that's possible, we're definitely doing it. Yeah. And you know, one thing I'll say as well is early on, everybody had a little TitanX burning, this and that. With us auto minting X28 and having a huge burn of TitanX, the 8% to the Inferno Bull is like, you know, every project releasing has a little bit of helping of something else. And I know that technically speaking, this 8% doesn't affect Flare, but it does affect it if we have a huge LP with it. So I really like Inferno, and the 8% is, you know, a little piece of it. But if Flare smashes it, it should be a massive help to Inferno and everything that's liquidity bonded with Inferno.
Yeah, man, like never underestimate the power of that 8%. 8% is huge. You know, just even the thinking like you've got 8% allocated there for liquidity webbing, and you know you will be able to do a hell of a lot with that, and that's going to be spread out among a few different pools or whatever way you work it. So that 8% going to burn Inferno with the already shrinking supply, cannot be underestimated. Yeah. So thanks for as an Inferno holder, thanks for building that in.
Yeah, that was like the, you know, only thing that people kind of push back on it at first. But then when I explained to them, like, hey, this LP Flare's going to have with Inferno is going to be massive. And they're like, okay, well, then that makes sense. You know, that we like that. That makes sense. I like that. So I'm bullish on Inferno, and having a buy and burn or adding to the buy and burn for it is huge. And, you know, Flare's going to be constantly adding more and more TitanX to it. Cool,
yeah, so I think the future of Inferno is looking amazing. And I think that's a good segue onto the next project that is going to be supporting Inferno. So does someone want to pull up the GOAT paper? Because sorry,
Smooth. Good job, mate. That's very nicely put together protocol.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, and you know, like it's been really a team effort. Like I've definitely had the bulk of the idea, but definitely with Accelerate, it you know, we bounced some ideas back and forth. So at the end of the day, it is a team effort, and what we built is pretty special in my opinion, and it's gonna surprise a lot of people. So I appreciate that, Irish.
Yes, Scotty Blaze isn't as stupid as his PFP makes him look.
I'll tell you what, I'll take that off you, Ali. Thank you very much. A lot of love going back and forth between me and you lately, isn't there?
Yeah, far too much. Don't get used to it.
Yeah, I think just to summarize Flare, it's basically going to be a distribution similar to Inferno with the vault auctions in between, which is going to be really interesting. And then also after the 11 weeks, which is going to be similar to Inferno, then there's going to be an LP web with tax on the token that's going to be spread out. So it's going to be like Shogun after the 11 weeks. So it's kind of emerging with Inferno, Shogun, and Vault tokenomics, which is bullish, and obviously going to be supporting Inferno massively. So yeah, well done, Smooth. This looks really good.
Appreciate that.
Very good, mate.
Okay, let's pull up the GOATX paper. So Irish, where should we start?
Right. Well, I'll kick things off, and Josh, Scott, feel free to jump in. Ali, whenever we start to tick through the different sections. So, firstly, thank you for having me on your show. It's been great to see how prevalent you've been pushing the industry. And again, congrats on Phoenix. So I know I did an elevator pitch, but I will revisit slightly just the MemeFi piece, as I do believe that is a burgeoning industry within an industry, and we all experienced the power of MemeFi with Inferno when we launched it back in July. So it's great that we're all contributing to the evolution of that. So I think when you look at MemeFi, you've got two things intersecting. You've got the meme coin aspect of it, and a lot of people talk about this on X. The Verse has been talking about it for a long while, for the majority of this year, and I do agree with him. We're in a meme coin market. The meme coin sector of crypto is the most accessible. The younger generation get it. It's scalable, and hopefully it can go viral at any time. With Inferno, compared to some of the other MemeFis in TitanX, we really sort of majored on the bull as a mascot. The narrative was it'd be the mascot of the TitanX bull run, which it has been, and we hope it will still be, and it still is, and its time is coming. So with GOATX, it similarly wanted to come up with a character. So obviously it's a goat. I'll talk about the tribe aspects in the story, and we talk about the tiers. And I really wanted to sort of develop a character there and get something that was quite memeable, but also fuse it with the DeFi aspects, which again we'll get into. So as I said, I do believe MemeFi is the next evolution of crypto, the thing that's going to be most accessible. And when you look at the sort of the two markets, and when I put my commercial mind on, you look at the last bull run, I think the meme coin market sort of peaked at about 80 billion, and DeFi at the end of the last bull market, I think, had 180 billion or so locked in. So this was just researched in the internet. So imagine what it's going to be like at the end of next year, 2029, 2033. And I just love how it's pretty simple, right? It just takes what works best out of meme coins, the viral growth, the community power, which we're working on, the potential mass adoption, and then obviously the great stuff about DeFi, the utility, the mechanics, the sustainability, the longevity. So hopefully it'll appeal to the people who like memes, and also the ones that, a bit more serious investor. So that's what we've been looking to do to bring to the market with GOATX, inspired from Inferno. I think the original tagline in the GOAT paper that I wrote for the Accelerate team was, a brother from another mother. And it's kind of evolved from that. So the vision is before we get into the tokenomics, it's got a real dual meaning, and it does have a purpose. I see it as, with some of the other MemeFi coins, like Inferno, Morpheus, Alien X, top of the spear for TitanX. So, a lot of us are here because we all believe that TitanX has the potential to be one of the best ecosystems of all time, the greatest of all time, the GOAT. And obviously we want this to be a very successful MemeFi coin as well, and be a GOAT in its own right. A lot of people, because I haven't streamed as much as some of the people on this stream, I was one of the sort of original members of Jake's mastermind, and really wanted to spend most of my time in this kind of MemeFi space, because I do think one of the things that the ecosystem needs is to bring in more retail, to bring in adoption from elsewhere. So the vision is that we hope this can be a sort of leading light, bring in fresh eyes, fresh investors to all of the work that we're doing on a day-to-day basis and a month-to-month basis. And as I say, some of us have been grinding it out for a good 18 months or so now. So Josh, do you want to sort of kick off a bit of the sort of the guts of the protocol, and I'll chime in with some other bits as well. Is Josh gone, is he?
He might have gone. Just to touch on that though, whilst we're waiting for Josh. So obviously you're talking about this really focusing on MemeFi, and we've seen how successful Inferno obviously has been. Are you kind of hoping it's going to facilitate new people that come into TitanX as a whole that kind of want to go down the meme coin route, or do you have plans to kind of grow outside to attract more users?
So can you say that again? Because I heard it as the same question.
So obviously you really want to focus on making this a meme, making people that really want to go into the kind of meme-fi sector of things. Are you going to kind of focus this on the community in TitanX, or are you going to try and focus on gaining more users and fresh users from retail like
Yes.
you were talking about? And how do you kind of plan on doing it?
Yeah, so clearly I want the TitanX community to like what this is all about and recognize that it's a continuation of Inferno, and that was a part of Inferno, as was the Accelerate team. So, as sort of a layer one, we want the TitanX community to, participate and, invest in its in the beginning and support it for its longevity. But one of the main visions is to try some other techniques that might not have been done before or haven't been done in TitanX, to try and bring people from outside of TitanX into TitanX. So hence why we're going to be majoring on memes, as you might have seen on my X page, Irish Crypto 4. I've gone with the sort of GOATX tribe side of things, which we can talk about in the tier classifications, but that really comes off the back of my passions for mafia films, gangster films. So it's got that kind of pseudo mafia, sort of Sons of Anarchy kind of vibe to it. So I've got plans to create a sort of mafia cartoon animation again, which will be perhaps building a TikTok channel on, and other ideas that we'll be given signposts to in due course. But it's about innovating as well, right? It's just trying to capture attention from people that aren't in TitanX, and memes become slightly more accessible to people outside of the ecosystem than sometimes complex tokenomics. That's just a personal view.
I think, yeah, I agree. And I think, in my opinion, where TitanX is going, we're going to have the users, but it's just making sure you're facilitating all different types of users. Obviously, some lean more towards the complex stuff. Sorry, my dog's in the background. Into the more complex stuff, but some really want to go with the memes. It just, obviously, retail, there are a lot of DGens out there that just love the memes. So I think it's good that you're facilitating when new users do come in, they're going to be benefiting like either way in TitanX, basically.
And that's it. I mean, I was talking to Crypto Graphics about this last night. I mean, when you look at what Jake did recently with TitanX.win, and it just spells out how good the ecosystem is and what it's trying to do and how innovative it is and how fair it is. It's just night and day to whatever else is out there. So GOATX's role in this pick and mix of protocols of pure innovation within TitanX is going to be in the memefi space. But anyone that gets drawn in can then turn around and go, well, actually, I prefer auctions, or, I prefer more complex DeFi tokenomics, or actually a bit more, like there is everything for everyone, I think, in TitanX ecosystem. And obviously that's going to continue to be the case, because every week someone else is pushing boundaries in tokenomics and game theory and protocols, aren't they? So, GOATX's role specifically will be in that memefi space, but it's obviously blending meme coins and DeFi. So a bit more serious than just, a goat face all over the internet.
Yeah, it's such a good point. I think TitanX has this, like, we have everything ready for a massive inflow of users. It's just waiting for the green candles and kind of the mega bull run that we're all waiting for. But I think GOATX, Inferno are going to be really good contenders for kind of the meme5 side of things for TitanX.
Yeah, I think Pat's done a great job so far. And actually, we do get a lot of meme coins launching, and they don't even bring any memes with them. This is it's only in time. We're only talking about the white paper. We've got the launch date coming up. When the launch comes and we've got mint cycles and we're just like Inferno, you've got the team bumping out memes, all day, every day, and engaging. That's whenever GOATX can really come into fruition and really make its own place in the ecosystem.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know if Josh is back, but do you guys want to start kind of going through the
right. I mean, one of the things, we've got a designer who's doing like 10 memes a day at the moment, which has been quite a lot of fun with the team. And we're having quite a lot of fun with Mo a couple of nights ago, where, we were talking about the goat father, and he was like, well, I'm a goat fella. And then obviously the next day we pumped out a goat fellas one, and then Make America Goat Again. And I mean, it's just so memeable. So, hopefully that, and the DeFi side of it, and, the performance of the protocol once it's launched and the longevity of it will prove a winner. That's what we're hoping. That's what we designed it for. So if we look at this, it's hyperdeflationary, mean fi token, aggressive buy and burn mechanics. We added a social structured holder classification aspect to the protocol, and the key features, 92% of TitanX that comes in, that's the in token, is used for the buy and burn feed mechanics. We have the social classification system. We wanted to go, as I said earlier, for just 14 days straight. I wanted to get it out. I want to get it capped and hyperdeflationary as quick as possible. And then, of course, we've got the perpetual auction longevity from the GOAT feed, which feeds the GOAT protocol, which we can get into in a minute. So if you want to click onto the minting process, I can just go through that. So we finally got to a launch date, which is great. Feels good that we've got that out there now. So that will be Saturday, the 28th of December, 2 p.m. UTC. So Saturdays and the weekends are usually, less on gas, we hope. That 28th date from a numerology perspective was too good not to take. So it was sat there as an open slot. So we went for it. And what we've done here is, if you just scroll down slightly, is, and I think there's two interesting parts to this. And I know Smooth talked about this, but we've seen with other protocols, sometimes if the reduction in ratio from in token to out token is too aggressive, sometimes it could, lose the FOMO for participation as the cycles progress. So we made the decision to do only a decrease of 0.02. So on Saturday, the 28th of December, it will be for every one TitanX that comes in, you get one GOATX. And then at the end of cycle 14, at the end of the 14 days, it will be one TitanX to 0.74 GOATX. I think the most interesting part of this protocol, along with the social classification aspect, is the daily cap that we decided to put in for the protocol. So, we did have it at 888 at one point, and then we were sort of thinking, well, that's kind of not the market we're in at the moment. And we thought, wouldn't it be interesting if we actually put a cap? Because if we put a cap and a social tier classification system and build something that's got longevity in mind, it's got community mind to it. People like what they're hearing, they like the narrative, they like where it's going, they like the design. It might be that we'll, could get a couple of the cycles early on, minted out very early, which will then hopefully build programmatic sort of FOMO pressure into the protocol, which could see us through to the end. That's what happened in Inferno. We actually had a slower start, and then it sort of just kicked off and actually had our best minting cycles towards the end. But for this one, we wanted to put a daily cap. So I think that's going to be quite interesting to see how that plays out. I think that's a first in TitanX. I think it might actually be a first in crypto, but I still haven't been able to find one. I don't know if anyone else has got a view on that.
No, I think this is a first, and it's going to be really, really interesting because you're kind of forcing the FOMO into the auctions, but you're still it's all still calculated. So I do think it's going to be really interesting to see if they close out every cycle. But yeah, it's definitely a first, and it's a really good idea.
Yeah, it'd just be good to see how it plays out. Did you want to reshare the GOAT paper, Callum?
I think Josh has dropped out.
Oh,
does someone else want to share their screen?
Ali, can you get it up?
Let me just put it in the private chat.
I hope so.
I think it's going to be really interesting. It is going to be really interesting to see how this does play out. Because even if it's obviously with the auctions, you're being forced to participate because there's always going to be an ROI there. So yeah, I can't wait to kind of see how it works.
Yeah, and we wanted, again, just trying to try something different. And when you do the math, if we do fully mint out, then there is some serious economic power in the protocol via that as well, especially with the perpetual auction. So really looking forward to see how that plays out. You've just been through it, Callum. When you launch, you sort of have these trepidation. How's it going to work out? What's the first half hour going to be like? What's the first hour? And you're kind of monitoring it. So it's all to play for. But I think that's a really interesting aspect with some of the other things that I'm going to be talking about. So if we move on to GOATX supply and allocations, Thank you. So we look at the supply metrics here. This has obviously been designed to be a hyper-deflationary engine. The maximum supply that can exist ever is going to be 6.424 trillion tokens. And that is only if we fully mint out. So hold on a sec. I just was reading off your goat paper there. Great. So that's if it only mints out. And that's obviously calculated as the sum of all mint cycles at maximum TitanX input. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, but that's the absolute max that can ever exist. We also made a couple of other decisions with longevity in mind for the GOATX protocol. So at the launch of the contract, we will mint the following GOATX tokens. So 1.816 trillion will be minted for the GOAT feed, which will support the perpetual auctions. And we've also going to meet a further 288 billion GOATX, which will go into a full range LP in the GOATX TitanX V3 pair, and another 288 billion GOATX, which will support the future utility on GOATX. So as I signposted to earlier in this session, this is the start of a MemeFi story. And wanted to make sure that we had some space for future utility for the user in mind. So, Josh, do you want to go into the token distribution piece, and then I'll pick up again at tier classification? I just need to get a glass of water.
Just quickly on the 288 billion for future development, are there kind of plans to develop GOATX, build on top of it, or is it more just supporting the LPs?
So the signpost of the Golden Goat NFT, which we're going to talk about when we get into the tier classification system, is we want everyone to see it as a bit of a golden ticket into the MemeFi space. So, a signpost is with my commercial entrepreneurial mind on, as I'm an entrepreneur and run a couple of businesses. When I look at the potential of meme coins and DeFi merged into MemeFi, the place I want to be playing in crypto is that space. I just see so much potential in it. So the early adopters into the different tiers, which we'll talk about in a minute, if they hold for a period of time, which would be a snapshot of up to 88 days, then they'll get a golden NFT, which will make them eligible for future participation in protocols. So that will be on the roadmap, as will potential rewards. So this has definitely got loyalty, tribe, community aspect to it, which for early believers and what we're saying, who look at our track record in the likes of Inferno and Flux and Blaze and others, can buy into it, will be a part of that story. But we'll have to leave it there. No expectations, but this is just the start of what we're looking to do in MemeFi. Does that answer the question, Callum? Or
I think so. So mostly it's going to be rewards to the tiers that we're going to get into shortly.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good.
Yeah, just to add to that, and apologies, guys, I just got set up with this amazing fiber internet broadband, and it just cut off. So yeah, I dropped off there, and you lost my screen and everything else. But I'm back. Yeah, just to sort of add to that, in terms of the 288 billion GOATX that we're minting from the contract, that will be sort of held. It'll be held in a public wallet that's visible to everyone. It's on the blockchain. Is controlled by multi-sig team GOATX team wallet, which is also part of the Accelerate team. So everyone who's on the screen here right now, that will be held by us, and that will be utilized in terms of not only as Irish has touched on there with rewards and got the Golden Goat NFTs come in and the snapshots and all that good stuff, but this a little bit more technical there. The GOATX there will actually be used to pair with future builds that come on GOATX, so that we'll be able to set up some fairly healthy and thick liquidity pools with what could come later on GOATX.
And just quickly, what's the main LP for GOATX?
So it's GOATX TitanX. It's the initial LP and the main LP, and that will be the case until we or somebody creates community pools or future build on GOATX pools that will turn up.
Flare will be that.
Yep, definitely. Flare GOATX is going to be there, 100%.
Nice, yeah. This looks really, really strong. And just quickly, I can see the 8%. So half of it goes to the TitanX, Flux, Pool, and Burn, and 4% goes to Phoenix. Yes, come on. And then obviously 8% to.
I'll jump into
8%.
that distribution level because that is really cool because GOATX is definitely a major part of the Inferno Kingdom, and it's as Irish has gone quite into depth about the Moonfi part of it, but it will support, massively support Inferno as from a value perspective as well, in terms of the 8% allocation to the buy and burn for Inferno, but also there's an additional 8%, which, as you say there, Callum, is split 50-50. Half goes to the Phoenix protocol, which would be max stake forever, which then, only adds more value to the Inferno Kingdom. And then the other half, which is sent to the TitanX Flux pool and burn. So how that works is that's a single-sided TitanX position. And then if and when the price ranges through that TitanX, the flux is then removed from the pool, and the flux is actually sent to the E369 protocol. So it's all kept in the system, and all it's a cycle and a flywheel of value going through the Inferno Kingdom.
And obviously the 8% that's going to go to the Inferno buy and burn 2.0.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this is Flare versus GOATX, and they're both sending 8% there. 16% from both the protocols there that's going to Inferno, which is, it's
outrageous, isn't it?
Could be some serious value going there.
And just the 30% that goes to the auction goat feed, that's basically only, so it's going to be buying GOATX off market, sending it to the auctions, and then the 46%, so the buy and burn / pool and burn / auctions, how is that different?
Yeah, so we've got 46%. You've got 38%, which is 38% of the entire value. Also, the 38% of the entire amount of TitanX that comes into the protocol is then buying GOATX off the market and burning GOATX completely. So it's a 38% buy and burn on GOATX, but all the other percentages are kept within the Inferno Kingdom, which then creates like a really strong flywheel burn effect on GOATX, because GOATX is going to be really involved in that whole ecosystem there. So we want to really support Inferno. GOATX has been born because of Inferno. It's Irish Crypto is one of the Inferno founders, so he's got obviously a great passion there to fuel that buy and burn. But you've got 38% of that just purely buys and burns GOATX. So that's it's a strong buy and burn. And then the other 8%, which it's 8% of all the TitanX, is there to provide liquidity. So that will go to the liquidity for TitanX GOATX. So we want to provide a really thick and healthy liquidity pool with TitanX. Really, it's going to be full range, but really thick. So with full range, the price can move really nicely through the range, because you've not got a concentrated liquidity. It's thick, but it's not concentrated. So it can move through that nicely. And we just think that in terms of these, because we have the tier classification system, we encourage big players to come in and to try and allocate some large amount of their portfolio to this. So to have a much bigger liquidity pool seems quite important to us to encourage bigger players to come in, really, without them incurring too much slippage, trying to get a strong position.
Okay. So 68% buy and burn, 30% of that is used to build up the auction balance to make it perpetual and go on forever. And then 38% is just straight burnt.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, awesome. And then the main fuel is going to be through the 14 days. That's where the TitanX is coming from, obviously, for the auctions. So it's kind of similar to a vault model, obviously with a lot of tweaks. And we all know what happened to Vault. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. I think there's a lot of small tweaks here that are going to be interesting to see how they play out. But yeah, do you want to get onto the tier system?
Yeah, no worries. So I think one of the most intriguing aspects, as I mentioned before, is this social tiering system with GOATX alongside the meme aspect and the capped daily supply. So when we look at this social tier classification system, the thinking behind it really was inspiration I took from the last bull run, where I was quite heavily into NFTs. So I took inspiration from rankings in NFTs, you know, when certain sets launched, you know, if you had a certain amount of NFTs, would get certain rankings, certain reward systems, statuses in Discords, etc. And also the whale rankings in crypto that we're all pretty au fait with. So the kind of shrimp to whale kind of systems. And also my sort of thesis for investing in crypto. So we used some of this for Inferno, which we called the 1% Club. Obviously, we had a bit of that energy with the Diamond Hands Club in Blaze. So the 1% supply club was, you know, trying to get 1% supply of any crypto and any built on TitanX crypto. So one of the ways that I've, you know, done reasonably well in build on TitanX protocols is I'm always trying to enter and try and get, you know, 1/4% or 0.5% or a, you know, 0.75% or 1%. So we sort of built all that into one, which, you know, is this GOATX structured tier system that incentivizes holders by categorizing them into just 5 token holdings. So we're hoping that this, you know, creates loyalty, creates, you know, a tribe. That's why it's called the GOATX and the GOATX tribe. Very much on the back of, as I said, some of my passions in watching old school mafia movies and box sets and stuff like that. So obviously top of the tree is the Goat Father. Now you might have noticed some memes about that knocking around on the internet. So that's yeah, sort of a top holding of 1.5% plus. So a kind of a whale plus kind of holding of the GOATX supply. Then the next tier is the GOATX, which is a sort of a whale status. So 1% plus underneath the Goat Father. Then you've got the Apex Goat, which is 0.5% to just under 1%. Goatee, which is 0.25% to just under 0.5%, and then based Goat. So, you know, each position, I suppose, means something, and it has its own character. It has its own PFP. We'll have a leaderboard as well. So, you know, it should be really interesting to see what happens with this, and, you know, the 92% mechanics, burn mechanics that we have, the 14-day minting cycle to get the cap supply out as quickly as possible. And then, you know, Ali alluded to it. I don't think we're too far away from a big reverse. And Inferno kind of launched, I think, you know, just as we're coming out of the low. I think we just did a 2x and then it started to explode. So we're hoping we're going to get the timing similarly with GOATX. And yeah, as I said, we're going to have a leaderboard. So once you've secured your tier, you can share via the DApp and use that as a PFP on X if you wish. You know, there's a clear path to climb. There's only 5 sections. And we've decided to actually do the golden NFT snapshot for the top 4 holdings. So Goatee upwards. So Goatee, Apex, the GOATX, and the Goat Father. And that snapshot will be done 88 days after mint, and then your tier will unlock, you know, future real opportunities in this meme-fi industry. So I want people to see it as like a golden ticket that, you know, they should hold. I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that, Josh, about the golden NFT or...
just quickly, I think that part of the thing that really works here is the cap supply, and the tiers really work well together. If you didn't have the cap supply, the tiers might not be as appealing. But I think just it really is adding something new to any protocols that we've seen yet. Because the tiers are not completely out of reach, you can kind of come in and participate in a day, and in one day you can nearly secure whatever position it really is that you want by going into by participating. You can pick your level there and put enough TitanX in on one day to secure whatever position it is you want. You can do it on a day, you can do it over the 14 days. But if people participate and they want to get their eye on any of those sort of levels, obviously maybe the top tiers are quite difficult and they require a bit of a big investment, but they're not unattainable like other things because of that cap supply.
Yeah, and there's still a lot of whales in TitanX. There's still a lot of whales, and a lot of them have been quiet recently, I think. So it'd just be interesting to see how it plays out in the first few days. And with the slower declining ratio, people can DCA into these tiers as well, right? They can DCA and watch how it unfolds. And I just think it'd be really interesting the first few mint cycles just to see what happens. It could be we get a whale in day one, or we get a lot of sort of mid-tier people coming in, sort of GOAT, Apex Goat, and all of a sudden, we're capped out and, everything's on ice until the next cycle.
Yeah, I think as well.
This sounds really, really good. With the golden goat, with the screenshot, just be super clear, what is the rewards or the incentive for holding and trying to reach these different tiers?
Yeah, so in terms of the golden goat NFT, so that if you're a GOAT, an Apex, a GOATX, or the Goat Father, you'll be eligible to a percentage of a potential reward or potential ecosystem coin that could come in the future. It's no expectations, like everything is always in DeFi, but what we can say is you will be given, or you will be eligible for a golden goat NFT. There's future protocols that are coming to GOATX that you'll be then potentially earning rewards from that, or you will be airdropped or could be airdropped some sort of token or reward NFT from that. So there's got to be some mystery behind this. We don't want to sit here and deliver all of the goods right now, but one thing's for certain, you will be airdropped the golden goat NFT and the snapshot will occur. What comes after that? Yeah, we'll definitely get into that very soon.
Okay. Yeah, this sounds quite interesting. Similar to how Morpheus kind of are alluding of all these new protocols kind of burning their supply. You're saying no expectations, but in the future there are plans to expand the GOATX sub
Correct.
empire, basically.
Yeah. And it's like the golden ticket into the MemeFi industry we're going to be pioneering. It's a GOATX tribe, loyalty is paramount, all of these kind of things you'd expect in a tribe. So as Bad Spot says, it's just the start of what we're planning, and there's a lot more to come.
Yeah. So for the different rankings, obviously 1%, is that 1% of total supply or just 1% of the supply throughout the 14 days?
So that would be 1% of total supply, depending on what it is after 14 days, whether we've fully minted out or we haven't. So we won't know what that looks like. And of course, it might be that someone decides to go into Apex Goat and, takes their chances with burning, and accruing value that way as well. So that's work with other protocols. Just really depends. But with the golden goat, of course, if we have a goat father or two or three and GOATX, and we will have a sort of a tiering range between the four, with what those potential future things could be for those top 4 tiers.
Okay, so
there'll be so from day 14 to day 88, there will be the snapshot. It could be taken at any time within that period. So for me, it's more about going through the mint phase, trying to acquire as many GOATX tokens as I possibly can, and then holding that position. And then as that buy and burn, reduces the supply and burns GOATX, from the market, that supply becomes smaller. So, you could potentially be an apex GOAT at day 14, but if the buy and burn is really, if it's working, to how you may expect the value that's coming in, you could potentially move up the ranks. So you could start off as an apex GOAT, and as the scarcity of the token increases, then you could move into the next tier, which would be the GOATX, and that's where you'd then get a larger share of that potential reward.
Yeah, for sure. So at the beginning of the white paper, I think it was it 4.6 trillion is going to be the total circulating supply after
6.424 if everything mints out, and the extra mint for longevity of the protocol.
Okay, 6.4 trillion. Okay, interesting. So if you want 1%, it's going to be around 64, 65 billion.
If I'm not mistaken, wasn't Inferno the same? It was in and around that, wasn't it? The total that was minted, it was about 6.57. I do recall.
Yes, 7.2, maybe something like that.
7.2, yeah.
And remember, we're going to have buy and burn on that every day. It might not mint out 288 every day, so there's a lot of variables to play out before that supply is capped.
Oh, that's a good point, Ali. How does the buy and burn work? Is it similar to Vault and kind of all programmed in with percentages, or is it similar to TitanX where it's changeable depending on participation?
Yeah, it's similar to TitanX, where it's a cap that can be changed. So what we do have that isn't though is the actual GOAT feed. So that will be used the next day over 180 calls. So that will be used as a main sort of buy and burn probably for the mint phase, with the other buy and burn just backing that up really.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, this sounds like a really strong protocol then. So it's basically going to be very similar to a Vault style, but it's going to have a capped amount coming in for each auction phase, and you're rewarded for obviously being a diamond hand holder and stacking up your GOAT tokens over time. So from a user point of view, it looks like probably a decent way to enter would be DCing over the 14 days, trying to enter into the tier class and holding to try and qualify for that screenshot to get the rewards of, if it's like you said, maybe a token in the future or potentially more tokens.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
Yeah, sounds about right. I think the only thing that might go against that is the fact that it's capped, so people might not, especially if the first couple mint out, it might be a case of people are just trying to get as much as they can, as quick as they can. It all goes down to how quickly it mints out, I suppose.
Yeah, and 8% obviously still going to Inferno. And how much of Inferno is burnt already? It's over 50, isn't it? 55, 56?
No, it's nearly
60. Is it hit 60 yet?
It's nearly
60?
Utah looked last night when we were on with cryptographics, and it's literally like just knocking on 60. So another 16%, Phoenix. I mean, let's fucking go. I mean, it's just going to be super scarce soon, which is just tremendous.
100%, yeah. 8% coming from GOATX, 8% coming from Flare. I mean, it's just going to become, like you said, more and more scarce. And I'm going to be excited where we're going to be in like a year's time, where multiple projects have all contributed to supporting the burn or burning more Inferno, and seeing how scarce it really is, because 60% already is insane. And then we have all these projects coming out that are just going to be adding fuel to the fire. So this is going to be so interesting. Is there anything you'd like to kind of add, Irish, that we might have missed on the white paper?
Don't think so. Just is it worth running? Just quickly highlight the last couple of bits. Bad sports,
yeah, sure.
This
you're
I'll
on
just
mute.
I'll jump in if he's on mute. So we've got the perpetual auctions, which actually was originally set at 22% per day. But when we did the calculation, me and Callum had a chat because we was talking about, I think you do 1%, Callum, is that right?
Yep, 1%.
Yes. Yeah, so we had a chat, and after I spoke to Callum, he sent me some of his calculations because we had done some calculations, but we hadn't gone that low. And then after I spoke to Callum, he sent me his calculations. We recalculated everything with a lot lower percentages, calculations including what will come in from the GOAT feed, just everything had the way actual GOATX worked, and we actually reduced it from 22 to 8%. Just gives it a lot more longevity. So that was a good conversation, Callum, and thank you for that.
I think it's a really good point, because obviously you want these protocols to last as long as possible, especially as the price, because the way the auctions work, it mirrors exactly whatever the price of that protocol is. So the longer that auction has fueling, the longer that, if there is price appreciation for GOATX, it means that just it's going to be even more beneficial for the protocol months down the line when there's still fuel in that auction balance. So I think this is a really good touch because it adds the kind of more sustainability, more longevity to the protocol, in my opinion.
Just watch as well. Just watch in the next 2 weeks. TitanX pops a 2 or 3x, and everybody starts shitting themselves and starts throwing all their money around everywhere again. And the bull market kicks in. All these protocols launching at the perfect time. Let's fucking go! All it takes is a 2x. That's it. It's game on.
Definitely.
It definitely feels like we're close now. With all these protocols coming out, I think we have Phoenix, GOATX, Flare, obviously, Stacks as well, all coming out in such a short period. I mean, and there's obviously all the protocols that are already working. Shogun's about to become capped, and there's not going to be any sell pressure from people exiting through their stakes. I think this is going to be such a good time to be in TitanX. And we have another guest. Welcome, Max Kane.
How we doing?
Doing good.
Hey,
How are
Max.
Hey, Max.
All good. I wasn't able to hop on at the start. I was out there, so I rushed home just to hop on.
Nice.
Glad to have you.
Welcome.
Is this your first stream, Max?
No, I've done a couple of streams before, but this is the biggest stream I've been on. The first one was with Ali, and then the second one was actually with Ali and Callum.
Nice. Very good.
So yeah, this is just my third stream.
So how have you been finding making all the memes for all these or helping out with the memes and posting for the projects?
It's been insane. I mean, every couple of days there seems to be a new one getting added to the roster. But for GOATX, it's been insane. I mean, there's endless amounts of content to be pushed out, and I mean, I find that the graphics as well are unbelievable. Even just making videos about the protocol, I mean, it's just insane. The protocol is amazing, and I spend hours just sitting there making sure they're all perfect. The memes as well. The memes are unbelievable to make. Just posting them, and then the videos as well. I've noticed that the memes are helping a lot with reaching other different communities. By doing that, I've noticed that other people from different communities are now coming to the TitanX community. I've noticed a few different people commenting under the posts. So it'll be awesome to see whenever the next few projects and protocols get launched, how many people actually come in from different ecosystems. I've actually noticed that over the past couple of days there has been a lot of other people coming in, commenting, showing some support on all the videos. So it'll be cool to see soon.
That's great feedback. Really good feedback. What's your favorite GOATX meme?
Well, recently, those new ones have been flying. I would have to say the goat slapping Pepe has to be the best one. Like,
Second cycle meme coin. No, I really appreciate your help, Max. It's been brilliant. And that feedback's great. And that's what we're trying to do, right? Is bring in fresh eyes, into all the good stuff that's going on.
I've got a question, Max. Obviously, you've, people in the community and on X will have seen your X page popping up and seeing you in Telegram. And, I think, there's probably a few people who understand what you're trying to achieve there. But do you want to just give a real quick sort of pitch as to what your role is in the TitanX ecosystem, what you're doing for Accelerate, and just sort of just give the viewers a little rundown of what you're actually doing for everyone?
So basically, I have been running the X accounts for a couple of different protocols. I do Ascendant, Dragon X. I've done a few things for Callum for Phoenix, GOATX, Flux. I've done content for all of those, and pretty much what I do is while running the X accounts, I post out videos. I just do normal posts. I'm pretty much just try and promote the projects as much as possible. The videos would just be informational videos, trying to push all that out, making sure that the ones that are coming, everybody knows exactly what the protocol is up until the launch, and then as well as the projects that have already launched, just making sure that everybody can stay up to date with what is going on. So that is pretty much a rundown of what I've been doing.
He's living the fucking dream.
I really am.
And it's been awesome, Max, seeing kind of where you started, because I remember you messaged me before and you were like, yeah, I'm going to videos. And now, like you said, you're making videos for like so many new projects. So,
man,
yeah, well done.
It's actually insane. I mean, about 2 months ago, I had actually about maybe 3 months ago now, I literally just showed up out of nowhere in the TitanX ecosystem. Started off making videos for Pulse Wars, and then I've just been expanding from there. I mean, being able to work with all these different people who are starting completely different projects and protocols as well. Like every single one is so different, and it's just so refreshing. This whenever I wake up in the morning, I'm able to do all different things rather than having to just do the same thing over and over again.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. It sounds great. And honestly, keep it up. Keep up the grind, because all I see on my feed is, I know when your videos, because they've got really good quality now. So well done, man.
I upgraded the MacBook. I was using like a 6-year-old laptop for a while, and then just decided that it was time to upgrade. So anything for the videos, like, I mean, the quality has improved a lot, and obviously I'm learning a lot more now. I'm also every day I'm figuring out how to do new things to help push out better content, and it's going very well.
Nice.
Yeah, fair play. Doing great. Like, the reach is great. And just a quick question for Callum: Are you now not the youngest member of this stream, or?
I don't think I am. No, I think Max beats me.
Is it by how many years?
He's only 18. 3.
Oh,
3 years. Yeah,
good effort, man. Keep it up.
That's awesome.
a young bull.
Yeah, but look, we're all here. You know what it's like. He kind of stepped in at a good time, especially for even for me. All right, yes, it's my son, but even for me, with trying to run Pulse Wars, trying to run Accelerate, one of the most important things is being able to just continually have new stuff going out on your Twitter feed. And as a founder, it's so fucking hard to stop doing one thing and sit down for an hour to make a video. So yeah, he kind of came along at the right time for a lot of us guys.
Yeah, for sure. So just getting back to the GOATX white paper, is there anything else you guys want to add?
Josh, you just want to quickly cover off the last couple of bits, and then we'll just close it off. Appreciate we've been covering it quite a bit. So, thanks for the opportunity, Callum.
Yeah, just quickly then in terms of LP, we sort of touched on it slightly earlier on. Main LP and the LP that's formed through the contract is with TitanX. It's a V3 pool. There's no buy and sell taxes here, so V3 was chosen as the preferred Uniswap pool. So yeah, $5,000 worth of TitanX comes in initially, bootstrapped LP. That's used to form the GOATX TitanX pool. Like we always say, there will be bots at the launch, trying to, take advantage of the users. So, we encourage not to buy at launch. Come in and do your minting, add the value to the system that way. And then once those bots have been and gone, we can then add in some additional LP to try and thicken that up. And we'll slowly build that LP out through the minting phase, and we'll see some natural increase as we work through that sort of first 14 days. But so yeah, just there's an initial $15,000 worth allocated, but there's also the 8% that's coming into that play as we work through the launch period. In terms of the auctions, I think Scott sort of touched on it, but all of the value that's allocated to the auction is used the following day, which I think is really, really good. You've got all that percentage allocation buying up GOATX off the market the next day. So if there's a mint period or an auction period, all of that value that's allocated to the GOAT feed is then utilized the following day. So that could be some substantial value that's buying GOATX, taking off the market and storing it away in the feed for future use. So I really like that sort of mechanic there.
So the 30% that comes in.
Yeah,
sorry. 30% that comes in, let's say day 1, day 2. So obviously 30% allocation to the GOAT feed. 100% of that is used day 2 to buy more GOATX off market to fuel the auctions.
That's exactly right. Yeah. So if you look at sort of, if you just base it upon the 288 billion cap and during the mint phase, you can then sort of do some maths on how much value that will be purely used to take GOATX off the market the following day.
Yeah, this is really interesting. Very different to the buy and burn. Obviously, I like that the buy and burn, you guys can kind of adjust to make to give it more longevity, basically. But this way, you still have that really aggressive nature that we saw with Volt, where it's calculated and it's just constant.
Yeah, again, see for two protocols that are quite simple, there's both got so many small features crammed into them.
Yeah, for sure. But both like very unique, never seen before kind of features. So, I mean, it's a good time to be built on Inferno. That's all I'm going to say. Because both of these projects, I think, are going to do that. Yeah, they're bringing something that we haven't seen before. Very new, very fresh. It's going to be very interesting to see. Literally within the next month, both of them launch. Hopefully.
Not long now.
Yeah. So is that pretty much it, do you think? Is there anything else you guys would like to add?
Look, pretty much the sense of it. I just want to say thanks again for hosting, Callum. Really appreciate it. Smooth, big up to Flair and yourself. I remember when we were designing Blaze, we were scratching for, what streamers could we go and speak to? And, you were one of the early streamers and you supported us from the start, mate. So it's really good to see you have your day with Flair. I'll be supporting it. And, thanks for everything you've done with the TitanX ecosystem as well. You've been there since the start. So, just to finish off, thanks for giving us the audience. Let's go. 28th of December, 2 p.m. UTC. It's great to get that feedback, Max. One of the reasons that we want to meme coins. There's a great quote from Elon Musk saying those who own the memes, who run the memes, own the internet, or something like that. I think it's quite a famous quote. So I do think the more.
Hold on. We're going to start charging you every time you say on the internet. So.
Show my age. But yeah, so do if you're listening to this, do get onto Irish Crypto 4 on X. Do join our Telegram, GOATX Tribe, t.me/the GOATX Tribe. Do share some of our posts. We really want to spread the word. It's great to get that feedback from from Max that already new people from out of the ecosystem are starting to comment on some of these memes and some of these posts that Max is doing, not just for GOATX, but for other protocols. So it's all about being prolific, not perfect, with all of our activity online and streaming. So yeah, let's go. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk today. And yeah, look at that DApp. It's looking clean, isn't it?
It looks really good. Really good. I'm going to be interested to see what the UI looks like. Do you guys kind of have the tiers laid out on the UI for people to kind of try and reach the next milestone?
This is like when we asked you last week to show us your DApp, and you wouldn't play ball at all. You're like, no, so no, fuck off. You're not seeing anything.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, well, this opening page, I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be one of the best.
Right, appreciate it. That's really good. Actually, one other thing, we got our second audit back today. Pretty much clean, wasn't it? Bad Sports, Scotty?
Yeah, it was. Zero. Nothing was picked up. A couple of informationals, but yeah, totally clean.
4 zeros, a clean sweep. So we're looking like we'll be the most prepared we've been for a launch on the 28th of December. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go.
Let's go.
That came through this afternoon. So that was that was George, one of the TitanX auditors. So he only came back with some informational stuff which we're looking at this evening. So yeah, really good, positive. We've got another week of testing. So yeah, all looking good for a launch on the 28th.
It's awesome.
10 days, yeah. That is awesome. So just a super brief overview of both projects again. Interrupt me if I get this wrong. Flare is going to be Inferno style distribution with auctions in between. So there's going to be this kind of crazy, and it's going to be very aggressive auction. So there's going to be this crazy kind of ROI up and down throughout these 11 weeks. After the 11 weeks, there's an LP web formed with the tax on the token as well. Basically Shogun, and you're going to be mainly, the main LP is going to be with Inferno, and obviously 8% goes to burn more Inferno. And then, is that right, Smooth?
Main LP starting out is going to be X28 Flare, but obviously I think Inferno is going to be definitely giving X28 a run for its money for the biggest LP, in my opinion. So it's not going to be started initially, but that's definitely going to be the first one we make.
Nice, yeah. And then for GOATX, it's kind of more on the meme side of things with kind of what Inferno did, but it's going to be auctions very similar to Vault, but there's going to be a capped amount every single day. So there's going to be, you literally, if you're not in when the auction's lost, you're probably going to miss the opportunity to get in. So there's that FOMO there to get in. And then depending on how much of the supply you hold, it qualifies you for these different tiers. And in the future, no expectations, there's going to be plans down the road to expand the kind of GOATX ecosystem. Sound about right?
That's pretty much it. Very good.
Nice. Yeah. So both of these projects come in within the next literally few weeks, both burning 8% of Inferno. This is going to be a good time for sure.
Yeah, I'm pumped, and Flare is going to be awesome. GOATX is going to be awesome, and I think it's going to have a really big impact. And kind of jumping on Phoenix's back and what it kind of catalyst already. I think we're really gonna add to that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. Unless you guys have any final kind of words you want to say.
I have a hat giveaway, so
Go for it.
I'll put
Let me share your screen. Did the other person reply, Smooth?
Yeah, they replied, but they just are like, yeah, that's awesome. And I'm like, all right, so how are we going to do this? Where am I sending it to? And this and that. And they just never responded to me. So I'm going to do 2 spins today. So they could have got one, but I told them, like I said last time, if they don't claim it in a couple days, it's not coming. So I'm not going to wait, 10 days for them to do it. So
yeah. So if people want to qualify for these in the future, where can they go?
Just jump into the Telegram. That's all it is.
Nice.
All right, fabulous. Wonder who that is. So we'll see. One more.
And how many is it in total?
That's fucking me anyway.
It's 5 total. So, and Austin, damn, Trader Lee was one away. Crazy.
Peter
All right,
Lee was
so-
1 away, was he?
Yeah, he was 1 away. Yeah, so
I thought that was me who was 1 away there.
yeah, you were literally right under it. So yeah, so yeah, basically at the end of the day, it's gonna be a couple days for you to get them, and if you don't get them, that is it. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not gonna wait weeks for you to claim a hat. You know, it's just gonna be pushed to the next person. So, you know, luckily we have a couple more, and you know, these are all going to be 1-of-1 hats, and yeah, so I think the initial for sale hat for everybody will just be black flare with the white black hat, white print. But yeah, other than that, that's all I really got.
Yep. And where can they find the flare? Obviously, they can just go to TitanX Hub, and I don't think there's a Twitter, but the best way to find information is through the Telegram or through your Twitter, right?
Yeah. And if you go to flare.win right now, the landing page will bring you to the Telegram. And when Flare is actually live, that'll also bring you to the Telegram as well.
Nice. And for GOATX, obviously, we've seen it's been all over my feed. So it's pretty easy. It's not hard to miss, but the best place to go for information is definitely the Telegram. Right, guys?
Yeah, Telegram for sure. We're looking to build that a bit more. So yeah, join the Telegram, t.me/the GOATX tribe, or follow my X page and the GOATX MemeFi page as well. As you say, we're pretty much ramping up activity via both channels. So if you're in TitanX, it won't be hard to spot. So do help us out and share some of the memes so we can attract some new users into the ecosystem.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, guys, for coming on. I really appreciate it. Great stream. I can't wait to see what these two protocols do. Literally, in the next 10 days, GOATX is out. So that's going to be insane. And then early January, maybe mid-January, Flare's coming out. So it's going to be awesome to see. Thanks for coming on, everyone.
Yeah, thanks, Ronnie. Before we pop off, I would say, well done getting the protocol out. Have you got over the launch stress? Are you chilled out now?
I'm chilled out now. Yeah, I definitely know what you guys are on about. Yeah, Irish and smooth. You got a lot to look forward to. Yeah, thanks for coming on, then, everyone.
Thanks, Callum. Take care. All the best, everyone.
Thank you.
Cheers, gents. Bye.